FTX founder Sam Bankman-Fried's back on the stand this morning, testifying in his own fraud trial. Our Kate Rooney's outside the courthouse in Manhattan with the very latest in today's Tech Check. Hey, Kate.
Hey, Carl. Hey, so this morning, just behind me, they started with the defense. They just started cross-examination from the government side. That kicked off in the last 10 minutes or so. That's going to likely come with much tougher questions and some curveballs for Sam Bankman-Fried on the stand. This morning, though, we did start to hear about the defendant's final days running FTX. He seemed more calm. He was speaking more slowly. He seems a lot more prepared after the weekend. Prosecutors have argued that the public statements he made at the time were deceptive and they misled customers. Bankman-Fried now saying that he truly believed that the crypto company was solvent. Ahead of the bankruptcy, he had tweeted at one point, FTX is fine, assets are fine, and Bankman-Fried says he believed that to be true at the time. He also told the jury that he did not know FTX had an $8 billion hole in its balance sheet. As he put it, my view was that the exchange was okay and that there were no holes in the assets. He also says he thought FTX was solvent when he went over to the Middle East to raise money. So far, his lawyers have really tried to portray this whole story as an image of a startup that just grew too quickly, while arguing that the founder was acting in good faith and didn't have criminal intent. SBF, as he's also known, testified about some mistakes at FTX, acknowledging that, quote, a lot of people got hurt in the collapse of his crypto exchange. Bankman-Fried saying that his biggest mistake was just not controlling risk. But he has also claimed that he did not commit fraud, did not have criminal intent. He has tried to really shift the blame to other executives, saying that he was too busy to keep tabs on his hedge fund. He blamed his former girlfriend, Caroline Ellison. She ran that hedge fund. He says that she didn't hedge. She didn't protect the downside there. He also said he saw no reason at the time why he could not use funds from his hedge fund to pay for things like celebrity endorsements, real estate, venture investments. He said he thought that was okay, and prosecutors say those funds actually were coming from FTX customers, but we'll likely get a lot more guys this afternoon. Back to you.
Kate, any sense so far on how the jury's reacting to him?
So they seem really dialed in. They're paying close attention to things like his body language. And really, legal experts I've been talking to say it's just as much about the content of what he's saying as his mannerisms up there. And today's likely going to be a big shift there. They haven't given much away. They're taking notes. They've been almost studious in listening to some of this. But they haven't given anything away in terms of kind of the tone or what they're thinking here. But today's going to be a big test for him. His mannerisms, when we got sort of a sample of this last week, the jury actually had to leave the room. Cross-examination started with this hearing within a hearing where the jury was gone. He did not hold up nearly as well as he did when the defense was questioning him. He was stalling. The judge multiple times said, answer the question, be clear. So if it's anything like that, the jury will likely take that into consideration in terms of his trustworthiness. It's now very much his word versus the top executives that we've already heard from, because a lot of the evidence was actually deleted. They had this auto delete feature. So it's really his testimony versus theirs at this point.